Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of VMware's Partnership Perspectives. I'm Kathleen Tandy, Vice President of Global Partner and Alliances Marketing here at VMware, and I'm pleased to bring you the stories and trends from our industry analysts, VMware partners, and executives. This week, I'm joined by Siva Ramamurthy, CEO and Deputy Managing Director at Anunta, a global desktop as a service provider focused on enterprise DaaS, packaged DaaS, and digital workspace technology. Over the last 10 years, Anunta has successfully migrated close to 500,000 remote desktop users to the cloud. Together, we covered Anunta's DaaS end-to-end offerings and how Anunta, together with VMware, enables customers to experience a seamless, stable, and secure migration to the cloud. Let's listen now. Siva, welcome to Partnership Perspectives. It's great to have you with us today. As CEO and Deputy Managing Director at Anunta, I know you've played a leading role in architecting your company's growth and innovation. For those who might not be familiar with Anunta, can you give us a quick overview of your business, the markets you serve, and how you partner with VMware?
Anunta is a global managed desktop as a service provider. Over the last 10 plus years, we have successfully migrated close to 500,000 remote desktop users on the DaaS platform and have ensured 99.99% application delivery and superior end-user experience across our customers. Anunta offers two flavors of DaaS product to the market. The first one being Enterprise DaaS, which is fully managed, custom-built DaaS solution for large enterprises that provides on-demand virtual desktops with enterprise-grade security, hosted on any public or customers, public cloud or customers on-premise infrastructure using virtual desktop technology. The other one is packaged DaaS. Our packaged DaaS called Desktop Ready provides secure, pre-configured virtual desktop hosted on a public cloud, which is easy to deploy and use. This is targeted at small and mid-sized enterprises, which is a comprehensive Windows 10 based cloud desktop that is built on regulatory compliant platform, and it requires no or literally minimal IT intervention to initiate, deploy, and manage. Anunta's DaaS solution is completely backed by our proprietary product called uVantage, which has the ability to monitor the end-to-end DaaS delivery and also enables process automation for ongoing support. We are recognized as an industry leader in DaaS and have featured in Gartner's market guide for DaaS in 2019 as well as in the 2021, which is the latest edition. Anunta has been VMware's partner in India since 2014 and in the US since 2016. We are very closely engaged with VMware, both from a sell-through and sell-with partnership. The relationship with VMware has not only helped us in developing deep domain expertise in a wide range of VMware UC technologies, but also given us good understanding of its strategy and go-to-market practices.
So that's a great overview. And given what's happened with the massive shift to remote work over the last couple of years, I'm going to say Anunta probably had the exact perfect solution at the right time, and I want to get to that. But I want to go first a little bit more around your relationship with VMware, because as you mentioned, you've worked with VMware closely since 2014, kind of starting and then expanding that relationship. And it's been a really, really fantastic relationship. In fact, you are one of VMware's award-winning partners. And so congratulations on winning the 2021 VMware APJ Partner Digital Transformation Award. That award, for our listeners who don't know, it recognized Anunta for delivering solutions that help your customers move to modern cloud architectures and accelerating your customers' digital transformation journey. And then in 2020, you won the APJ Partner of the Year Award for Services Excellence. Could you share what sets Anunta apart in the market that has led to, from your opinion, winning these awards, and what those awards meant to you, your company, and your customers?
Thank you so much, Kathleen, for your question on this. As a VMware partner, Anunta has been delivering solutions that helps customers move to modern cloud-centric architecture and advancing the customer's digital transformation journey. The award acknowledges Anunta's innovation in designing end-user-focused desktop as a service, right? DaaS offerings for our customers. We have worked with many marquee clients across the globe. One of the notable customers who was engaged with us was a large, multinational business process management provider. Our engagement with this customer is over a decade old, and where we engaged with them to deliver a centralized virtual desktop earlier. And this was a super success for the customer because they felt this is the right technology, it works for them and all that. because of this success, right, we became like a long-term partner for them, and we've been in every digital roadmap discussions, technology roadmap discussion with those customers. So at one stage, we started telling the customer, it's time for you to start looking for a cloud transformation journey. You look at a holistic approach of moving towards cloud, and that's the future in which, you can start adopting and having dynamic business upgrade. So client readily accepted it. So Anunta, in partnership with VMware, have jointly led the complete digital transformation journey for this customer across the data centers and user workload and all that. So what we did is we did a seamless design, onboarding, migration, management across a multi-geography environment, which caters to close to 30,000 plus users. But what they really liked is the way the entire solution has been implemented, a seamless, migration, the stability of the solution, and the ongoing stability of the environment, which really the customer liked it. The customer not only, consolidated all the technology, data centers towards this platform, but also started rapidly expanding. And that's where, as VMware, as Anunta, we really enjoy when customer gets the full success and potential of this kind of a technology. So this award reinforces our strategic partnership with VMware as a principal partner for digital workspace and hybrid cloud solution. At Anunta, we are focused on driving technology innovation by enabling customers into digital workspace transformation and providing secure and reliable virtual desktops. And we are definitely very proud to be the leading VMware partner for digital transformation and provide our customers with the customized DaaS offerings, which help them to get the fullest potential of this technology.
Well, and that's one of the critical roles that our partners play, which is being that trusted advisor, both to help our customers see the potential, right, and see what that long-term possibility is, and then really being their trusted advisor along the journey along the way. And I think, as you mentioned, delivering both a seamless experience, a seamless migration experience, and then the stability, which then gives them the confidence to do more and take on more and really realize the full potential of what our solutions can offer, because they're only good when customers actually realize the value. And it's really up to partners like you that help our customers really achieve that. So that's fantastic. As you mentioned, you've also differentiated yourself in the market by focusing on DaaS, focusing on desktop as a service with end-to-end DaaS offerings. So coming back to what's happened over the last 18 months with the rapid shift to remote work, and I'm assuming that since you mentioned you were already in this business back in 2014, 2016, wow, you probably couldn't have asked for a more fantastic market driver for what you ask. With all of a sudden companies having to stand up their entire workforce as remote work. What is that rapid shift to remote work? How has that driven growth at Anunta? How has it shaped your business over the last 18 months?
Sure. The year 2020 was a great learning, for the entire industry, right? And everyone started to recognize the importance of digital transformation and the power of the cloud to make business more resilient and, to sudden market changes. What we experience with our customers, like customers last year when I was talking to the CIOs and CTOs, they were very worried about providing secured, compliant work from home solution because they cannot operate out of office. They have to take the entire business back to user home. But the problem for them is, how do I ensure the security is taken care of, compliance is taken care of it, and continue to provide seamless experience to the users so that I cannot compromise on the productivity. So these are the kind of challenges they came up with. They were also looking for a hybrid option on top of it because they said work from home cannot be permanent, but it might be, on and off. So I need to have a dynamic solution which allows me to do all this. So these are the kind of constraints or challenges they brought us into it. And we all know DaaS is the only secure and stable solution to cater to this need. So before the pandemic, most organizations are sure, and this is not, VDA is not new to them. They were at various stages of adopting this, but they have not consolidated and started looking at it seriously. But I would say the entire pandemic added as a catalyst for them to, DaaS was put in the prime seat and they started making decisions faster. So as business prepares to address the needs of distributed workforce and adopt long-term hybrid working business continuity solutions, we enabled enterprise in addressing their business priorities by coming up with a DaaS, which I talked about, enterprise DaaS and package DaaS, which allowed them for distributed workforce model, secure and compliant enabled one. This enabled them not only meet their immediate need, but also surprisingly customers were started expanding their business. Kathleen, I have to tell you the kind of changes we have done. We did not really have time to do the changes. It's like Usually these transformations in the past used to take months together or weeks together at least. But here the timelines were like in days and hours. So there was one particular customer, I have to do this change in less than 48 hours. I have to cut over about 10,000 users. Another customer gave us only a week to migrate 50,000 users. And that's the kind of an environment we dealt with. So I would say we did a very good job, working with VMware and making it happen to the customers. The customers really got the full potential of the solution. And I was constantly in touch with these customers to understand how it is, because generally if you implement a solution on a BCP, it's more like a whatever is the best possible support. But customer experience absolutely a normal BAU support. There was no problem for them and they were very happy and started expanding. And that's the kind of an experience we saw in the last 18 months. And now what's happening today is all these customers who thought this is going to be more like a temporary shift has now realized it's not going away. This is the way we have to proceed. And now every customer who adopted this have started putting a long-term roadmap and re-looking at the entire solution for next 5 years and 8 years. That's the kind of a discussions we are now engaging with the customers.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you brought that up, because as I talk to other partner executives, regardless whether it's desktop as a service or other aspects of their business, they've described a similar pattern, which is you're doing triage first with your companies, right? As you mentioned, we have to put 10,000 users online in 48 hours. We have to migrate the whole company in a week. You do what's necessary to get it working, but still in a secure and compliant way. And as companies have realized, oh no, we're going to continue to operate this way on an ongoing basis. And it may be eventually, hopefully hybrid, going back and forth, as you mentioned. But that means that a lot of companies are having to go back and go, okay, now what do we do to really make sure this is a rock solid and stable solution? As you going back into your customers' environments and working with them for those things that maybe they're over the next 5+ years, maybe they're more closely 1 to 2 years out, what are their primary concerns? What are the things that you're going back in and working with them to make sure that are hardening their environment for more of a long-term remote work situation versus a quick response to the pandemic?
That's a great question. The conversation we are today engaging is decisions we have taken, whatever solutions we adopted last year as more of a reaction to a pandemic. How can we make it as a long-term journey for them? So the one primary factor which comes into picture today is the customers are now looking for a hybrid cloud. So they want to have BCP in what has been done. While they had on-premise and cloud as a primary approach in the last year, now they are looking for multi-cloud approach. And that's one of the need they're asking for. The second aspect is some of the customers have not moved their voice into the cloud, because they felt that voice could be a challenge, and how do I enable voice into the cloud, whether I'm going to get a seamless experience of voice technology in the cloud. So those are the experiments we are now doing with the clients and giving them confidence, saying even voice will also seamlessly work there. And they also had certain line of business which they felt, complex use cases. So these are the use cases which they believed may not work in cloud. So we now started tapping everything with the customers. So it's more like a land and expand strategy with them. So we are taking, you just bring up every business case you have. You don't assume what's going to work, what's not going to work. That's my job to do. I'm a solution provider for you. So let me figure out what can be made to work. So that's what we are doing. On top of it, during a pandemic, none of the customers would have really worried about the cost aspect of it, because, that's something they have to do and necessity is to run the business. But now they are becoming cost conscious. They want to know what's the total cost of the solution. How do I optimize the cost of the solution, even moving to the cloud, to ensure that they can have a complete budget which is within the control and also expand to that. And finally, touching upon the security and compliance is the most critical aspect. So if at all there are any compromises they have made or exceptions they have made during the last year, now they are going back and ensuring tightening all security aspects of it, which includes from an end user side of it, backend in the cloud side of it, overall on the backup and other aspects, they are looking into all this. And now they're also presenting this more like a comprehensive, stable solution. And this is also becoming one of the selling points for our customers to get additional business. And now the kind of an engagement they are having, discussions they are having with their customers is like, I can power on my business in less than a week. You give me more business so I can ramp up and ramp down. Because now if you look at it, this pandemic also started creating a lot of innovations. So they are now talking to customers saying, gone are the days where I have to invest in a large infrastructure on-prem and wait for 3 months, 4 months to get link and huge hardware to set up everything. Now it's more like a cloud enablement. So I can do it in a week or add the capacity dynamically. So that's the kind of discussions we are having with customers in taking it as a long-term roadmap.
It's certainly a healthy list of so many different aspects that customers need to consider, which is great that they have you as that advisor for that. And I love your comment about the trends you're seeing with multi-cloud, because we're seeing that absolutely at VMware as more and more of our customers are using 2-3 more clouds. And absolutely, the pandemic has just been a catalyst, as you mentioned, to accelerate this. And of course, the promise of the cloud is what you're able to deliver with the value of making it faster, more agile. Although I appreciate your comment about customers are now starting to look at that cost aspect and having to look at that cost of ownership and make sure that it's not running out of control. I wanted to turn back to security for a second, because clearly with desktop, a complete, very, very distributed environment, security becomes key. VMware has a particular approach to security, right? Intrinsic security built in. How have you leveraged VMware's approach to security and the security solutions that we have, or have you, as you've been able to deliver these seamless and stable and secure desktop as a service solutions for your customers?
So we were completely dependent on VMware solutions for it because, see, most of this environment is more like a BIOD. Many of the customers have to depend on the end user's endpoint, whatever they had. And some of them were able to ship the desktops or a thin client to the end user. Some of them were not able to do it. So they were dependent on end users' infrastructure. So it's very important you have a comprehensive solution which does not deal with only the data center piece, but also take care of the end user side of it. So we worked with VMware. You have a fantastic product called Carbon Black, which takes care of the end user complete locking of the entire end user systems and ensure the compliance is met there and the security is taken care of. On the backend, once you have secured that piece of it, then the backend is something which is completely under our control, and VMware already have enhanced solutions to take care of the aspects of it. And that's what we leverage using the Carbon Black from an end user perspective. And the already architected, the design, a reference design is already there, have a secured solution in the backend, which uses a combination of the backend technology, the Active Directory, and the overall cloud security, which we applied through the VMware backend technologies. We were able to give the secured solutions to our customers.
So that's great. Thank you very much for that endorsement. I appreciate that. And our security team and Tom Gillis appreciate that too. But I'm glad to hear that that is delivering on the promise, because that's exactly the intention, which is important. We're in a hybrid cloud world. We're in a multi-cloud world. And as I talked to Raghu, our CEO, about the focus for, as he talks to customers, it's all about private cloud, public cloud, but increasingly the emergence of edge cloud and edge. And as someone who is in the desktop space, how are you seeing the emergence of your customers thinking about the edge? And is that starting to be, or maybe it already is, a market opportunity for you and your solutions?
So definitely our customers are, started exploring those options because that gives them a lot of flexibility. The edge cloud gives them a lot of flexibility, to have the way the solution is adopted. Some of even you may not be able to achieve 100% in migrating everything to the cloud, and edge cloud options gives them some flexibility to seamlessly put other workloads as well. And second aspect is they also are looking for solutions which gives them more visibility into what's happening, because generally the public cloud environment is customer feels like they completely have no visibility the underwater layer. So ability to give more information about the edge cloud and how it's operating gives them better visibility into the environment. And also they see the performance aspects of it. They started exploring more, and that's what we are seeing. But today the adoption towards the edge cloud is not that much, but it's in the discussion stage. But we see that trend moving towards that aspect.
Interesting. Well, it'll be great to come back in a year and talk to you and see how Edge has started to grow and what other catalysts are on the horizon to drive that. Because I think we definitely also see that as a big growth driver for our customers, especially as they move to more use of multi-clouds and then are trying to optimize which clouds for which purpose, for which workloads, which I wanted to bring that also back around to line of business. You mentioned that you're starting to see more conversations and engagement with the lines of business with your customers. Are there any lines of business that you see more particularly engaged? I'd love, as someone who works directly with customers day in and day out, which lines of business are you interacting with more, and how are their concerns different than maybe the IT organization, which for them, maybe that's where you're focusing on the cost management. How are their requirements differ from the traditional IT organizations that you've been working with?
So we work across multiple industries. we've got wide variety of experience in dealing with different industry customers. With our experience of now migrating close to 500,000 users, we would have dealt with various use cases, like 300 different use cases, 1,000 plus applications, and about 700 to 800 various devices and peripherals and all that. And it varies across different industry verticals. Specifically, if you look at each vertical, when I talk to banking customer, the kind of challenges the banking customer brings to me, his priorities in his mind is security, data protection, compliance. Right, and this is what is the prime discussion he will drive towards. And obviously, disaster recovery and BCP is something given, so they always look for a solution like that. On the contrary, when I talk to the business process units, like the large BPMs, the global ITS organization, their focus is towards superior end-user experience. How do you ensure the availabilities of users are taken care of? Because every minute is a revenue, important for them. So their focus is towards that. And they also focus more centralization, standardization of the user infrastructure and profiling the user infrastructure so that they want to have more control, because what they provide access is the end customer information and data. So they need to have complete control over the way the entire infrastructure is provided, the user persona is provided and all that. Others, which are, the other industries when I talk to predominantly with the manufacturing industry, their interest is towards how do you make my legacy application work? Because the operating system is caught up, right? It's getting updated faster. But the legacy apps take some time because they use various apps which will have some time to move forward. So they bring in those kind of challenges to us. And in general, all these customers, we also deal with pharma customers. Last year, we had quite a lot of interest from pharma customers. Their pharma customers focus is more about, they've got quite a lot of R&D information, and data protection was their primary interest. And we also have the largest aviation customer with us. So the aviation customer's interest is more towards making sure I give a real-time response to my end users, so they will be able to operate faster and ensure that things work around the clock. It's not that system works in the day and in the night it slows down and all that. They need seamless performance all through the day. That's a kind of a need they are bringing up. And all of them came up with a common theme last year: enable BYOD, mobility, work from home. So this has been a common requirement for all of them. So these are the kind of needs which each industry vertical which brings us to us. And it's quite interesting because we have created, we've got an end-user experience lab which we created in Anunta, which gives we've got all this kind of types of applications, devices and use cases where we simulate and explore all that. And we work with VMware very closely in sharing our data in the end-user experience lab, how the application behaves, how various customer application reacts to this environment. And then, that inputs also passed on to your product team for them to take further inputs from that.
As you're talking about the different use cases across the different vertical industries, and then you bring up the focus on the end user experience, which is a whole nother kind of target use case that you need design for. I'm just getting a picture, Siva, of you and Anunta being master jugglers, of having to reconcile all these different, maybe not necessarily competing, but different aspects of the solutions that you need to account for, probably to address all of them, because it doesn't sound like you can trade off any of those. You have to find a way to meet all of those requirements. One of the things, going back to the growth and how the pandemic has been a catalyst for Anunta Solutions, and you're absolutely being in the right place at the right time, I'm sure one of the challenges that you had is just as your customer demand was going through the roof, asking for migrate my entire workforce in a week to an online, secure, stable solution with a seamless migration. I'm sure you had the same challenges of then managing your own business. Probably you had greater needs for capacity and more hours in the day for your teams. At the same time that we know India has had major challenges in working through the pandemic. What were some of the keys to helping just manage your company and helping keep your company prepared to be able to deliver those amazing end user experiences for your customer?
So, Kathleen, one fundamental stuff which we've done is I would say, as Anunta, we are one of the evangelists in this VDA technology. We thought through this much, much earlier than anybody else in the industry would have seen how the entire VDA to be delivered to the end users, how the end user experience has to be focused and all that aspect. So we were well prepared from an user experience perspective. And the last many years, we spent quite a lot of time in nurturing and building the workforce and technology framework within the organizations to handle any scale at any point of time. That's the kind of forward thinking we had. And especially when a pandemic like this struck, it's unprecedented, but a revelation to the entire corporate world. It completely disrupted the way we work and live. So in Anunta, at least we were able to focus some of these aspects by the way we operate. And then we were prepared in setting up the entire organizations to deal with something like this. So the key 3 priorities for me when a situation came up was adopting the people first approach to ensure safety of the workforce is taken care of. And the second priority for me was to assisting the customers in choosing the right technology for business continuity and remote working. And third was to empower our own workforce to seamlessly operate from home. Interestingly, I'm saying this to other discussions as well. Interestingly, we saw our productivities of our employees have increased even though with this kind of a change happened. And that's because we had the structure in place. And this is not that work from home is not something we reacted to the situation, but we've been practicing it already. So we had our operational practice in place. We had a technology setup in place. And we also, the pandemic actually stuck in India in the end of March. We were prepared by February itself. So we know something like this is coming. So we started doing dry runs. We made people to work from home and analyze and all this. One is about setting up the technical infrastructure and operational process. And there are also a lot of soft aspects we need to take care, right? Because the employee emotions has to be taken care of. The challenges being at home, working in this environment, that's when my HR team came into picture, and they spent a lot of time in coming up with innovative ideas to engage people, right? And engage their families also into this. Because when you are at home, you're not working alone. You have your entire family looking at what you're doing. So it's important to respect them because you are now eating into their space. So we started engaging that, involving the kids into some common themes, social programs, and sending some gift hampers, involving them into this. And usually the social programs which you used to do in office started now became completely divert to the spouses there, to the children and all that. So it became the work culture itself got improved, and employee also felt more secured, and they felt like the organization's interest is on safety of the employee. So they concern more about it. That's the reason they're making me to work from home, and they were able to seamlessly develop the productivity. On top of it, our product, right? We have our product UVantage, which is an AIOps platform product. The product played a critical role in this pandemic as well, because all of us started tapping to the product to ensure that we manage through the dashboard and drive things through that, so that even if there is no major human intervention, things were able to run seamlessly and take care of customer environments. So that's how we were able to react to this pandemic and adapt to the challenging times.
Wow. So Anunta and with your leadership really were in the right place at the right time. I'd say you probably had a little bit of an unfair advantage because since your focus and specialty is desktop as a service and kind of supporting that remote work environment, you were poised and ready to even use your own solutions to support your own teams. But I have to say, again, that kind of all of the people that I've talked to, I haven't run across any leader who said they were actually doing dry runs for having set up kind of complete shift to remote work. So absolutely, I can see foresight and vision that you're bringing to both Anunta and with your leadership and your customers is absolutely shining through in terms of even how you're managing the company. With the focus on your workers' safety, with the amazing HR practices that you've employed to engage your workers and recognize the whole family needs to be brought in, I'm curious whether you are seeing the same type of turnover. One of the challenges that leaders across the globe are facing is people, one, getting a little burned out because we're all in our Zoom boxes and working remotely and without the benefit of people. People have more flexibility to work in different places. And when you have great experience, employees like you do, they're in high demand, probably particularly from your customers, as they're realizing and expanding more. Have you seen kind of the same turnover that some other companies are experiencing? Are you seeing challenges in acquiring talent? And how are you working to keep your amazing talent with Anunta?
I think to be frank with you, yes, that's definitely a concern. I think the industry across is facing the challenge of retaining the top talent. We at Anunta, right, we are a people-first organization. And since inception, our focus has always been on nurturing the talent. As an organization, our technology capabilities are very niche, and hence our workforce are of very high value for us as they bring specialized skills to the table. Our talent retention programs ensure that we all retain critical talents and provide them enough opportunity for both personal and professional growth. So being a recognized and valued partner of VMware, Anunta has been able to differentiate itself in the job market as well and attract the right talent. And that really, as a catalyst, it helps to improve our brand and what kind of innovative technology they are going to work, and that really makes a difference. Our strategy at Anunta is to retain top talent is twofold. One is pay for performance and promote for potential. So this is a kind of an approach we adopt. And our top talents are not only well compensated with performance pay and bonuses, which is staggered for about well ahead of 2 years, but are provided enough opportunities of learning and further building with career with us. And that's what is, I would say, more than a pay, it's the building the career of them is most critical. And that's what the people are looking forward to it. So we make sure they receive exposure to cutting edge technologies and already ahead of the curve. And there is not a single day my team complains about not having enough challenges. I tell them you can complain about enough to do. So next day morning, you'll have many more challenges to come. That's the kind of situation. So they don't get bored out on what it is. So every day is a new challenge. I continue to learn every day. So I think that's what motivates all of us to look forward and continue to do. So we also pay equal emphasis on learning and self-development to retain our top talents. And I think that way we were able to manage and attract new talents as well in the last 1.5 years.
That's great. I was writing down the notes, pay for performance, promote for potential, with that focus on balance. And as you said, there are always going to be challenges with the type of solutions that you've talked about across the board in supporting your customers' digital transformations. There is no lack of interesting work to do and new challenges across the entire stack and new things. And then even with things coming like Edge, there's more and more and more in this fantastic world of technology. One of the other big trends that we're seeing in the world of technology is the shift to rent versus buy. We as a company at VMware are seeing that our customers are going to more of a consumption model and everything as a service model, a subscription purchase model. But we're seeing it everywhere. Customers want to stream. They don't want to own their CDs. Everything is rent. What I'm seeing is customers thinking less about wanting to think about the building of the technology infrastructure. They want to focus more on using it and how they can use it for their business. And it's less about the technology as a thing and more what they can do and realize for their businesses. Of course, desktop as a service, again, you guys are on the leading edge. But how are you seeing this appetite and shift to more a consumption model and a use versus a own playing into how customers are using your services, and how is it shaping how you are thinking about your roadmap for the future?
Sure. Here I'm going to spend a little bit of time in explaining it, because I would say it's a major shift I started seeing from a customer perspective. Anunta's managed offering covers the full DaaS lifecycle, from a support to end-to-end design, onboarding, migration, management of virtual desktops. From a customer perspective, he doesn't need to worry about any of this. He just needs to call us into it. We bring the solution and deliver the solution to them. So we focus on optimizing the design of the DaaS solution to achieve the best TCO for them. So there are scenarios where we have redesigned the entire DaaS and delivered it the TCO of 1/3 of what customers are already spending. So they're already bought into our solution approach. And what we also do is we provide, high quality end user experience. And our managed DaaS today delivers less than a 0.1 incident per user per month, whereas the industry, as predicted by Gartner, is around 0.8 to 1.2. So this lower incident ratio results in higher user satisfaction. And as they get uninterrupted IT availability, they completely believe this is the right technology to consume. But the deterrent factors for them is, should I do some upfront investment or should I rely on them more of a pay-as-you-go kind of a model and all? The shift I saw in the last 18 months is customers are absolutely comfortable to do the consumption model. And because that gives them greater flexibility to ramp up and ramp down. They come with a mindset saying, okay, I should have that flexibility. Whether they ramp down, situation comes later. But they come with a mindset, okay, I have the flexibility to expand my business, start trying something and do it. And Kathleen, the way we approach the customers, right? We always have an approach of land and expand. So whenever we start with a customer, we don't have a big bang of migrate all customers or all workloads in one day. So we start with 500, then go to 1,000, we go to 5,000, then we go to 10,000. This expansion also happens through a consumption model. But what happens here is our focus is not just implement something and come away. So we want to walk through the entire life cycle with the customer. Our objective here is to achieve the complete customer success, and customer for life is our motto. So we wanted to ensure that, for that, if we have to give any flexibility for them to take away the risk of the backend infrastructure, license, everything. So our fully managed DaaS today gives that. So customer doesn't need to do it. They have to pay only one price. It's a complete combination of the backend cloud utilization, the complete cloud consumption, the license piece of it, and Anunta managed services. So everything comes in a single bundle price. and they use it as a pay-as-you-go. But the moment they get confidence, they can come up with a short-term 1-year contract or a 3-year contract or a 5-year contract. And I must say, after this kind of a change, we started seeing growth happening in a multifold. I felt like the customers who have implemented things on-premise were stuck with the infrastructure there. And they were kind of the kind of approvals they have to take for CapEx, the approvals they have to take to bring additional devices, hardware devices inside the data center. It was stuck into the complete management system. But for cloud, it's pay as you go. Even the CFO is able to understand this, and it's more like a consumption-based model, and it's very easy for them to translate into business cost and start giving approvals. And that's what we have seen. So the speed at which customers grow month on month for us, the number of user endpoints grows, has been pretty fast in the consumption model. And I see that's the way the customers are going to go forward.
I love just the way you describe how kind of freeing a pay-as-you-go model is, because it sounds like it's a way to get customers to, there's lower risk in trying new solutions because they don't have to sign up for a big 3-year giant ELA. They can try it, but with a partner for you who's focused on their success, focused on explaining and being their advisor on the journey, seeing the different things they can do with it. It leads to that expand model, and it just sounds like a win-win. So I think for any other kind of executive leading their partner and trying to think about, or their company as they transition to this more pay-as-you-go model, I think you have laid out a fabulous use case for how this can be success in growing a company, delivering value to customers. And it just sounds like there's all upside, which of course we see as well. And I also love, Siva, your point about focusing on a customer for life. You're not there just to do one initial project, but you are there thinking about the full life cycle, thinking about their journey, and you're with them along the road with them. So Sandy Hogan, our Senior Vice President of Partner and Commercial Sales, also talks about having our partners deliver customer for life value. And I think you're the perfect example of how you're delivering it for your customers. Siva, let's wrap up our conversation today with what I like to call some lightning round questions, shifting a little bit away from technology and more about you. What are you reading or listening to these days that is keeping you inspired to focus on you and leading your company's growth and innovation?
I spend a good amount of time reading books. The latest book which I've started reading is called Rehumanizing Leadership. So this book is putting the purpose back into business. So it was written by Michael Chavez and Sudhanshu. I have felt this book is very relevant to the current scenario. When everything moves into digital and all that aspects, how do I put my leadership thought process around it and approach it? It talks about how to practice empathy and embrace social responsibility, strengthen our ability to make meaningful and action approach. It's also driving you to become like a systems thinker who views problems in a holistic manner and overcome the digital distractions. You are completely surrounded by various digital distractions, and how do you come out of it, and your desire for top-down power and control. So it's a very interesting book, and I just started reading that. So that's what I'm focusing on nowadays. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Actually, I'll have to put that on my reading list, because if that can help me think about how to lead with more empathy, but also focus on digital distractions, sign me up, because we all have that challenge and it's just getting worse. What technology do you see being the most disruptive for our industry and for our customers over the next few years?
What I see, the cloud is definitely the way the customers are moving towards. One thing is, BOD is not a new term. It's been talked about for many years. But now it has become real. I'll give an example. Last week, I met one of the large BPM CIO. The discussions were so interesting. What he brought out was, it's a big innovation they're trying to do. Looking at the BOD technology, usually the BPM organizations are a very closed organization where they will bring the employees to their on-premise environment and make the people work out of their offices. But this particular customer talked about building a completely kind of a dynamic workload opportunities for the end users. The way they operate is they've created a portal in which they offer various customer works the users can take. So if you're subscribed to them, and you don't need to be an employee, if you're subscribed to them as an agent, whenever you are available, you can log in there, click on one button and start taking the BPM call for certain customers and start working towards it. The most important thing, the way the technology enabled is BOD, because these are the users who are not going to have any corporate prescribed environment. They're going to have only connectivity. They're going to have some endpoint. But what helped this customer to achieve this is the technology of BOD, which is an end-to-end virtualization, with complete end user controlled ones and with various security aspects which enabled it. So I feel now the BIOD is something which is going to go in a very big way, and it is going to enable customers to start adopting to it. And cloud is going to become multi-cloud, and edge cloud are the ones which are going to be the future technologies where customers are going to move rapidly there and move away from an on-premise kind of an approach. And that's what I think the change which I'm seeing, which is going to be happening.
That's great. What excites you most about this technology industry that we work in? And what do you see its greatest promise for the future for people in your business, people across your customers, and people even outside of tech?
See, what excites me personally, I've been in this industry for the last 25 years. So what excites me is the kind of challenges and the kind of business problem we solve for the customers. Because today, most of the business is technology-enabled business. And the value it brings to the customers, we can visibly see the impact it makes to their environment and how it benefits them in overall improving their complete business aspects of it and all that. And I think this is what is going to be the need of the hour. Every organization is going to look for a solution which can come and help them out. When I take the cloud technology, which is a new technology which has come in, one particular customer where we implemented it, we're able to save close to 40% of carbon footprint. And this is like, you can achieve it. These are the various wonders you can achieve in technology. Technology like cloud is environment focused, end user experience focused, business focused, cost focused. And you can do a magic for this kind of a customers. And last year, especially, I felt so proud about being in technology industry because I saw many customers stuck with not being able to do anything. But the moment we were able to provide, they started serving their end customers, being in healthcare industry. So we serve a lot of healthcare customers. And that's so critical for the healthcare. And they were really thanking doctors. We serve doctors also, doctor teams which we serve who are based out of US, but we support them from India. So the doctors were started able to seamlessly support their patients and start looking into the files and all that stuff. So the way we do the remoting technology, the cloud technology, how it impacts the overall industry and the complete community, I feel great to be part of it.
So, Siva, thank you so much for joining me today. I have so appreciated how you combine a deep technology vision, which is clearly you are always one step ahead, and positioning Anunta to be in the right place at the right time. Again, the only executive I've heard who is doing dry runs for remote work, but combining that with I think a focus and an empathy both on your employees, also on the users with a really deep focus on that end user experience, clearly shows why you are one of our award-winning partners and is set up to deliver that customer for life value with all of your customers and with our customers. So with that, it's been a pleasure to speak with you, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Kathleen. I would like to also thank VMware. Complete channel strategy is really going in a step in the right direction. It really empowers partners like us to take a lead in devising our own customer acquisition strategy and helps us to run our own marketing programs with support from VMware. Programs like these are critical and for mutual growth and helps us connect with VMware top leadership and gain their share of thoughts as well. The past few years, VMware has been consistently adding value to our customers by developing innovative technologies and either through their product teams or cherry picking it inorganically. And I would also like to thank you and congratulate you, Kathleen, on this initiative of VMware Partner Perspective podcast. I think this initiative has really provided a voice to partners like us to share our perspectives in the industry with the entire VMware team and customers alike. Thank you again for this opportunity and looking forward to a great partnership with VMware.
Wonderful. Thank you, Siva. It's been a pleasure to talk with you today. And we're back. I particularly enjoyed the conversation around the trends to multi-cloud and how the pandemic has been a catalyst to accelerate customers' digital transformation. It's also fascinating to hear how Anunta's employees went through a complete shift to remote work dry run exercise to be ready to support customers when they needed it most. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. To learn more about VMware, please visit VMware.com. To connect with Siva, you can find him on LinkedIn or on Twitter at Siva_Anunta. Please subscribe, follow, and review VMware Partnership Perspectives podcast from your streaming platform of choice. For more information on VMware's partner programs, please visit Partner Executive Edge at VMware.com. I'm Kathleen Tandy. Thanks for listening and hope to see you soon.